And how many are here? Well, yeah, but I think it's a fairly low percentage for how serious that crime was. And that, to me, is kind of what we're talking about. A sexual assault doesn't generate, this should have been an overflow crowd.
How many managers of the buildings in this town were notified?
There are 79 buildings, and yes, only the one building manager had 5 other buildings, so we felt very comfortable that that general area was covered. There's only two.
Our manager wasn't notified.
I can't deny, if he says he wasn't notified, he wasn't notified.
So I think
He heard it to another town.
I think the chief is talking about the direct impact on Altamont, Hill Street, Elm Street.
Where do you live? I'm
I live
sorry.
in Blair House.
Yeah.
And Hamilton Court is across the road.
And there's 79 apartment, and that's where I said I'll learn. Next, if there's a residential building hit again, okay, but let me ask you this. If there's let's say a house on Dogwood Road is burglarized, am I trying to send a nixel out to every residence in Morristown? No, I'm serious.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine with me.
But you have to sign up for it to make it happen, because what the chief said very early on is, how many percentage read the newspaper? You know, it's tough. Kevin, Morristown Green has a large following, so we get press out on Morristown Green.
I'm serious.
But it's only a segment. And then part of our society, the other aren't on Facebook. They're not on Twitter. So there's segments that you'll miss. So everybody has, I think, now, not everybody, you can correct me if I'm wrong, do you have a cell phone? We can, no.
No.
All right, so majority of people have cell phones, so the Nixle system works. And that is an easy way for us to send an alert and information to you. You can get, not even if it has to do with policing, traffic. All that stuff is on Nixle. All that, you get all the alerts. So that can be very helpful for us to disseminate that information to the public, and even if it's one attempted burglary. I mean, or 4 cars got hit in, they use, that's his term, hit Parsons Village. So do we, this is where you have to draw the line. Do we send everybody over on Burnham Park that 4 cars that were unlocked got hit in Parsons Village?
Yes.
Okay, so that's easy to disseminate out when you have the technology. But to put that in a newspaper blurb on page 7, because that's where they'll put it, nobody's going to read it.
I disagree. They'll put it on front.
They'll put it on front. He said they'll put it on front page. They don't. Oh, Daily Record will.
Real quick, for those of you who are not familiar with Nixle, you sign up for it online, and you can get either text alerts on your phone, or you can also get email alerts as well. So even if you don't have a cell phone, they'll send you Nixle alerts by email.
Well, I want to go people who didn't ask questions yet.
There's been some really great hints or advice in what you've said so far. Is there a resource you can send us to list all these things, like keep your front porch light on maybe a little longer? And the second thing, you mentioned call 911 if you see something suspicious. Now, I can certainly see if you see someone pulling car doors, but if you just see something that looks a little odd, would it be perhaps more appropriate to call a non-emergency number?
No.
There is no criteria for 911. There never has been, because let us decide that it's not an emergency. If you think it's an emergency, and there's 2 cases that I have of this, we used to say, what is your emergency? Now we say, where is your emergency? Because in the town of Morristown, they said, do you have an emergency? And the individual said no, so the dispatcher went on other calls and came back, and she said, well, there's smoke coming through my floor. In another case, it was during a hurricane. Do you have an emergency? Yes, my cable's out. So there is no criteria. If you think it's an emergency, call 911, and the call taker will take the information and then decide whether it should be dispatched as a 911 call or a non-emergency.
Yep, let the police
So
decide whether it's an emergency.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This may be a rather naive question, but why do I have to know about all of the burglaries or all of the assaults or any of them?
It's not, and I'll tell you, and I'm glad this came up because I've been here a long time, and my recollection is that the police department wanted people to know the job that they did, and the chief at the time, this is 25 years ago, was releasing a lot of information through the press. And my mother said, I don't want all this stuff out there. You're affecting our property value. We want you, Carl Peter Demitz, to do your job and do it quietly and catch the people that are doing these things. I am telling you that there is as many people throughout this town that don't want that kind of information out as there are in this room. But my job is to keep you safe. And I believe the mayor will support me in putting out that stuff which will keep you safe.
Right, and I'm telling you, technology
Despite
is there.
pressures he will get.
And I don't care about the pressures. The technology is there for us to disseminate the information. Like again, I understand how it was explained to me, the policing procedures. I don't know, they arrested this person within 36 hours. No more, I understand the whole, never use the word rash. When we have 8, 10 break-ins in cars, that's a rash. We've had those, then we go right through those neighborhoods. We've done, cops have gone door to door with flyers. We do it. If he perceives that it needs to be done, it gets done. And I'm not a policeman, but I get the whole look at how they police. And, but I have no problem.
I'm going to wrap up with this. I'm civil service protected. This is the truth. You can go to the archives. There was a horrific situation at the then headquarters Plaza Hotel where 3 generations of people were attacked in an elevator. For years after that, I'll go find them for you. The Daily Record, when we had an assault at the top of Flagler Street, would report this assault and say that's 3 blocks from where the horrific assault occurred at the headquarters Plaza Hotel. That is the way that paper, and I said that to them directly.
Yeah, you did.
Maligned, and that's the truth. There's a great section, Morristown history, at the public library. You can go down there, and it's right clippings. I did it when I first came on. It's a very interesting history. The other thing they do, and we fought this for years, if there is a case out of Mount Olive, where Steve Beecher is, and it's a robbery in Mount Olive, and it's heard in Morristown court, what's the byline? That's right. And very few people read. 80% of people only read headline and byline. So it happened in Morristown.
If I told my children that there was a burglary and I didn't, they'd tell me to move.
Yeah.
They'd be up in arms.
There's
You gotta
burglaries
get out of
every
there.
Well, thank you for what you're
They're in
saying.
every community. They're in every community. 1 or 2 more questions?
Well, I want to give 2 things before we end. I'm going to give you my direct line, because I know some people, sometimes there's some people that kind of ask all the questions, and there's other people that just sit quietly. So my direct line, personal, confidential, 24/7 is 973-292-6640. And my email is p-demnitz, D-E-M as in Mary, N as in Nancy, I-T-Z, at morristownpolice.org. And I'll follow.
8 years, he's never given me his number. It's not true.
Phone number is 973-292-6640. That's direct. That's no secretary. That's direct. 24/7, personal, confidential. And then my email is P as in Peter, -Demnitz, D as in David, E as in Echo, M as in Mary, N as in Nancy, I-T. Oh, I'm sorry.
P as in Peter.
Hyphen.
Don't you have a card?
D as in David, E as in Echo, M as in Mary, N as in Nancy, I as in India. You're learning police jargon. T as in Tango, Z as in zebra, .org.
Can I get a raise hand of everybody who's gonna sign up for Nixle? I love that. So what we're gonna do, here's what we're gonna do. So I will work with the administration, with the business administrator, with our Councilman Iannicone, other council members. Hold on one second, Dad. And Councilman Silva in the back, I think he's still here, he may have left. And we will disseminate through our website, through mailers. We will do a mailing to every resident with the information on how to sign up for Nixle. We will have the council people push it out into their neighborhoods. It would be amazing to have 10,000 people sign up for Nixle for many different reasons. One being this, but for many different reasons. People can avoid when they're coming into town if there's a car accident on 287 and everything's jammed, but there's a million different reasons to sign up for Nixle. This being the most important one tonight. That would be great. It'll be on the website, but we will send a letter to every resident, correct? You will get the information. Please sign up, and then we will work with the police chief to set a policy on when. I mean, I'm telling you now, I don't think you want me to nixle you that a bicycle got stolen off a light pole on Morris Avenue.
Unless it was a $3,000 bicycle.
So we will, the police will have a policy, the police chief will set the policy, he will disseminate the information, and I want everybody to understand that was a great question on if the chief felt there was a public safety issue, he would be the first out there telling everybody it was a public safety issue.
And also sign up for the Morris Township Nixle, because
Yes.
issues will affect you here that are happening in the town.
Thank you, Linda.
If-
All right.
if-
Are you going to have it, I want to know if something's in the first ward, the fourth.
It's gonna be blanketed.
100%.
Blanketed.
Nixle goes out.
Nixle goes out to everybody.
You know what I meant?
If there's a break-in, attempted break-in on Ridge 11, you'll know about it on Wetmore Avenue.
I will put every burglary out.
And then when you start calling me, or calling him, oh, really?
You just
Please see if
turn off your
I
phone.
need this, so somebody stole an ice cream from or a hot dog off the hot dog check.
I think
You know what?
burglaries. I think burglaries.
So we'll set the policy, he'll set the level. I think George in the back say, if you send me a Nixle with an ice cream cone that's gone, you'll be hearing from me personally. Dad, one more, and then one more.
Just a quick question, first one. I subscribe to an email service that sends me emails about roads being closed, et cetera. I've never gotten anything about burglaries. Is that Nixle? I can't remember.
No,
the name.
we're going to make that the new,
Including.
we're gonna include
That's
that
gonna
now.
be, so that
Yes.
is Nixle, that all.
Yes, you can get it through email, text. Anything else? No, email and text.
Nixle
Yeah,
is email and text.
email and text.
But the email service you're talking about is not the same thing as Nixle, but we do duplicate the messages through Nixle as well as the email list that you're already on.
Sign up.
But I would still recommend you sign up for Nixle, because Nixle's not only Morristown, but it's also the surrounding communities. So you'll get a lot more information that way.
Right. Okay, two more. You and then your last.
Thank you. You've given a lot of advice about protecting for yourself, keeping doors closed and everything locked. When you live in an apartment building with 64 units, and I try to be vigilant, and some tenants do, and I have quite a few that just leave doors open. It's very, very hard because you're trying to do your best, but yet you don't feel safe. So after this meeting tonight, I think one of my takeaways is that maybe try and get a town meeting, a tenant meeting. Maybe hold the building manager more accountable, and maybe reaching out to the company that actually, what else is there? Because there's so much frustration. They let any pizza man in, every this.
I know.
It's tough, so.
The best security systems are compromised by somebody opening a door for somebody. And I will tell you, again, the history of Morristown, because I did a lot of research. Some apartment buildings have great complex. You know how I get into a building? I just hit every buzzer. Somebody's gonna open that door.
Yeah, that's what they do. They
That's
just hit
what
the
they
buzzer
do.
until
That's
somebody
what some of
just
our
goes,
burglars.
and it walks in.
And somebody
But get
walking
this
behind me
before you
that
leave. All
nobody
right,
knows.
Lex.
Okay, I think you said that we need to help police ourselves and our neighborhoods as well, okay? As a part of that, in our neighborhood, we've got what's called neighborhood set up where all of our neighbors signed up. So if somebody on Von Eigen sees that a service person is in the neighborhood and going house to house, one of us will take the responsibility to send it out to the neighborhood. It's called Von Eigen Neighborhood, but it's set up for most of Morristown, Washington headquarters, all the different areas. And that's a way of us personally noticing. So if you see somebody's coming in the building or something and you don't feel like I have to call the cops, go to the neighborhood, for your neighborhood, whatever it's called, like I said, ours is Von Eigen, and just say, hey, I see somebody in a red truck going from house to house and stuff like that. That tips most of us off, and we're a little bit more alert anyway.
If you want to use a template, Washington Avenue Association, they just seem to be a little bit more vigilant, a little bit more organized, and I will get an email about something from abandoned cars on up. And yeah, I do believe that the active neighborhood associations have an impact.
Yeah.
So
And just one other thing on the same thing. Everybody, we were talking about lights on the outside. There's a light switch that you can replace in your house for your outdoor lights that you put in your latitude and longitude, and you never have to touch it again. Every single day as the sun gets ready to set, it automatically comes on, readjusted daily for 365 days a year, because the sunrise, sunset is slightly different. You never have to think about it again, and it's not very expensive. And that's one way to help save too.
So I just leaned over to my business administrator and said, wow. And she goes, I got one. So before we leave, I just want to thank you all for coming out. I would like to, again, thank my business administrator. For you who don't know who she is, this is Jillian Barrett. She runs the business of the town and does a fabulous job. And I think you all know, and if you don't, you should get to know our police chief, who's been in Morristown for a very, very long time.
59 years.
59 years, I've been here for 30. So he's got me on a few. And we can't thank you enough for coming out and to stay vigilant and,
Thank you.
and appreciate all you have to do.